All right, welcome to the Spoiler Kings. My name is Tank Kramer. I'm with Alfredo, and
How
we're
you
doing
doing?
something we haven't done in a while. Well, because it's not that time of year, but it's Oscars. So Oscar
Yes.
season's coming. They just announced all the nominees, and for the past couple of years, we've been watching the Oscar movies, which is good. I think we're broadening our horizon or whatever the hell you call it.
Yep.
So a bunch of good movies, a bunch of movies we didn't like too. So, and again, we're starting it with this week with Belfast is going to be our first movie, and
Yep.
you want to give us a little rundown of what it is about?
Belfast is basically a black and white movie with sometimes color backgrounds. It's an artistic thing,
Yeah.
but it's a semi autobiographical film which chronicles the life of a working class family and their young son's childhood during the tumult of the late 1960s in the Northern Ireland capital. Did I even say that right? Tumlet?
Hamlet. Yeah.
Tumlet?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But it's
yeah,
the whole Catholics versus Protestants area, which, Belfast was a big area in it. So
it was.
if you're familiar with that stuff.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy. You know, I mean, it started nice, peaceful. You know, then the thing is like the shipping yard in the
Yeah.
beginning. I'm like, okay, it's interesting, pretty cool. And then it throws you back to 1960s. And I think this
Hmm.
took place in 1969, I believe it was. And
That sounds about right.
right, so yeah, so now all of a sudden the movie's in black and white. So that's how the movie is throughout there. Um, yeah, I mean, it was okay, hard to follow.
Hmm.
They have heavy, heavy, heavy accents, when they talk.
Yeah.
So it's you have to have a really close, keen hearing on what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's some like good parts, but yeah, that little boy's life, you just basically follow him, follow the life and
Hmm.
what's going around him. And that's
Buddy.
yeah.
Buddy's the boy. That's the main character of it all.
Mhm. Yeah, there are times there were places in that movie where it's like it's suspenseful slash drama kind of movie, and
Hmm.
there were times like, man, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna get hurt? Are the families gonna get hurt? Are they gonna make it out of there alive? So it was good.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean, some of the good stuff I liked was the cinematography was pretty good, I thought.
Hmm.
Because like you said, it was based in the 60s. I looked it up really quick. I guess the Troubles is when it's called. It was like a 30-year issue, and it started in 1968. So that was right about when this movie took place, is when the whole Protestants versus Catholic kind of war kind of started. Um, so and it kind of kept to mostly this like that block that they lived on, kind of
Yeah,
stuff. But I gotta give it to the little boy, Jude Hill played Buddy, and man, he was good. He was he
it
was
was.
he was good. Like to have a child like really carry the movie, and seeing everything from his perspective, seeing from a child's perspective is very unique, because there's parts in it where he tends to act a little bit older than he is, and then you get reminded of, like, oh yeah, he's still a little boy.
Yeah,
But Judi Dench is in it. I mean, she's probably one of the bigger names in it. She was the granny.
yeah.
You had Granny, and then Pop, which is the grandfather. I love their relationship
Yes,
of,
their relationship
yeah.
is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking
Yeah.
at it. I'm like, man, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they definitely loved, like, it was because they loved each other, and it was just like they truly cared for each other, which I
Hmm.
liked. I mean, the mom and the dad, which is just Ma and Pa, were the parents of Buddy. They had a lot more issues,
Right.
obviously, because they have, little kids going to school with all this like issues going on out in the streets. But I gotta say the grandfather Pop was funny. He was unintentionally, I think, because I think
Right.
there's one part where he's doing math. I think it was like multiplication, and he asked him what I forgot what two numbers it was,
It
but
was
I
2 that
guess
looked like a 6 or something, and then the 7 looked like a 1, or a 1 looked
yeah,
like a 7. It was something similar
yeah.
to that.
Yeah, where he's like, "What's the answer?" And he's like, "Oh, 27." And then the grandfather was like, "Ah, close enough." He goes, "Just make sure when you write it, you kind of write it really messy so you keep them guessing."
Yeah.
So he was just very, very funny about it. He's like, "Isn't that cheating?" He goes, "Nah, it's not cheating. It's working the books." It's like
Yeah.
it was funny.
Mhm.
So it really didn't. I don't think mean to be funny, but it's just like I think we all had like that happen at a time in from either a
Yeah,
parent or from a grandparent that we have. It's like it's fine.
it's
Just
fine, it's fine. Yeah, I
so
mean,
that
uh,
was good.
I like the some key parts that really stood out on me was their schooling system.
Hmm.
How, like, if you're, you got gold, silver, bronze, and then the ranking. So the ranking of the test for that week or the previous week, that's where you sit. And it shows you,
Yeah.
if you're the top of the class, middle of the class, or at the back of the class. And this little boy, he was back there, had his crush on this little girl. So that dude is like a motivator. He's like, I want to be close to her. So
Hmm.
he studied. He started fixing his whatever, and then slowly and surely he got way up there. He got too
Yeah.
good because he came in second, and the little girl got bumped from second to third. So now she's sitting behind him, and he's like, "Oh, what the hell?"
Yeah.
And his whole purpose was to sit close, like that he could see her and watch her.
Yeah.
But
His little crush.
yeah, his little crush. I think that was pretty cute in there. Um, Another part was you mentioned earlier what was it, cinematography of it,
Hmm.
which it's crazy how their washrooms were outside
Yeah.
and they had no bathrooms inside. So
Yeah.
it's the camera placement, the background, how there was a scene where the grandfather's in the bathroom in the outhouse outside, but he was just sitting there. He wasn't using it. And
Yeah.
or the
He had
little
a cup
boy
of
was,
tea.
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. And in the background you see, like, in an angle, you see the grandmother just staring out the window, just there.
Yeah.
Then, like, throughout that whole shot, the whole scene, all she had was 1 or 2 lines, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I just liked the way it looked. He had that old style fashion back in the day look, you know?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was nice. I like the camera work of it.
Yeah. So the part of the thing is the dad is trying to get the family out of Belfast. I think into England, I believe it was. He was trying to get him to England.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
Sydney or,
Yeah. It was Australia. Yeah.
he had 2 brochures. It was Sydney, Australia, or, Toronto, Canada, I believe, or Ontario. I think it was Ontario,
Ontario.
Canada. And,
Yeah.
yeah, he's, like, looking out for his family because I guess the thugs, like, he called them the thugs. They
Kind of.
kept
Yeah.
pressuring him like, "Hey, so and so expect an answer. You're gonna be with us or against us? Are you a traitor?" And at one point, one dude threatened his family, and he told him,
Yeah.
"You touch my family, I'm gonna kill you." But I'm like, okay, this movie's kind of serious now. It's not really all
Yeah.
fun and games.
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, I mean, just the title of it, if you know like history, once it
Hmm.
said Belfast, like I kind of already knew where the story, like at least what the background was going to be of this, like, religion war kind of
Hmm.
thing. So, but yeah, real quick, there's another joke because you're talking about the outside bathrooms. When they're getting ready to leave, and the grandfather is sick, so he's obviously not going to go with. And Buddy says like, "Oh, I don't want to go. They're gonna, they don't have the bathrooms are outside. They'll make
Hmm.
fun, blah blah blah." And or something along those lines. And the dad and the grandfather was like, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with bathrooms being outside, unless you're in a plane." It was just like little zingers like that. I was like, "That's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny." He was just a very
I forgot
witty
about
old
that one.
man. That was just, yeah,
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah.
So that's some of the stuff we did like. What's some of the stuff you didn't like?
I
What were you
didn't
kind
like
of like?
the what was that? I didn't
No,
like
yeah,
the
go
wife.
for it.
I did not like the wife
Yes, the mom.
because yeah, the mom. Because the husband's like, "Look, we gotta take our kids out of here. Let's get a better future, better life." And God bless that man. He goes out 2 weeks at a time, comes back for a little bit, and it shows behind the story how much he loves his family. You see him playing with the kids, playing with the neighborhood kids. He arrives after 2 weeks, and what does he do? He sees the soccer ball. Hey, let me see the ball. Then he takes it. He's like, "Here you go," and he just tosses it, and kids laugh and have fun. But the wife always like, no. What if we go? And what if we don't like it? We're gonna take the kids out of school. What if we're gonna talk weird? No, we have no friends and blah blah blah. She was always thinking negatively, while he's like, look, this is better for our family. And
Yeah,
it wasn't until towards the end of the movie it kicked in, like how serious this thing is that you know she needs to protect her family also. She has to
yeah.
stop being selfish. And it almost cost them what, one of the kids' lives, someone's life in that one
Oh
scene.
yeah, yeah.
So that's when she realized she's like, okay, you're right. We should have done this a long time ago. And yeah, that I think the wife, the mom, was one of my least favorite characters there. Besides the dude with the beard, the thug, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Billy, what was his name? I know you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes,
Yeah,
Billy. That
yeah. He
dude
was a
is
dickhead.
like, yeah, always
I
pressuring
mean,
kids.
a lot of people back then were like that. Like,
Hmm.
oh, if you're not, like if you're not, this, then you're not with us. So it was like them. It's like if you're not Protestant, then you're against us. If you're not Catholic, then you're against us.
Right.
Which I mean, I don't want to get too much into that whole thing. That's just so stupid. It's like so stupid.
It
Like,
is.
oh, it's literally the same freaking God, but yeah, it's like, oh, you worship your God like this. Well, I worship that same God like this. Well, I was like, you fucking both idiots.
Right.
It's like so stupid. And it lasted 30 years. Jesus.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so yeah, definitely, I'm right there with you with the mom, with I know the big scene at the end where you were talking about that kind of changed her mind. I thought that was the stupidest. I'm like, how much of an idiot are you? Are you just that naive, or are you just flat out stupid? So,
Right.
they do like a looting riot kind of thing, and Buddy kind of gets pulled in. He doesn't want to. He gets
No, he
pulled in
didn't.
by this older girl who was like, she's in a gang kind of. It was a goofy thing with Moira, I think her name was. um so she kind of pulls him in, and he didn't want to go. He tried getting out, and she kept dragging him back in. They loot, and she's like, grab anything, and he grabs a box of like soap, I think.
Detergent.
Was that what it was? Yeah,
Yeah,
detergent.
the box of detergent.
which is kind of funny, because like he was thinking about his family. He's like, oh, my mom could use this, kind of
Yeah.
thing, rather than grabbing like a candy bar or something else. So he runs home. He shows his mom, and the mom loses her mind because
Yeah.
like it's not right. He's like, no, you don't do that.
Yeah. She
But
chases him down
then
the street. You
yeah, she
see
chased him down. She
you see this little 4 foot, 5 foot kid with a
a
3 foot
big
box,
box.
like 5 pound box of detergent. He's like,
Yeah,
why'd you grab that? It's biological or something. That's all he
yeah,
said. I was
yeah,
like,
it's biological. That was funny. But then she takes him back. I'm like, are you an idiot?
yeah,
I thought
next
that was. I'm
to the
like,
right where they're looting. Yeah.
they're still looting. They're still in there looting. All this craziness is happening in the street, and you're dragging him back there. I'm like, are that blew my mind. I was like, what, are you stupid? Because
Hmm.
even if that was your idea when you got there, as you get closer and you start seeing all these people in masks, and they had like not pitchforks, like fire
Yeah.
sticks, whatever,
Torches. Yeah.
torches, and doing. I'm like, why don't you like maybe I'll teach him this lesson later.
Yes.
Instead, you want to teach him that lesson now, and it almost got you and him both killed.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when she realizes like, oh yeah, maybe we should leave.
That's the
And
point.
I
When Go ahead. I'm sorry.
you almost died. No, I was like, wait, you almost died, so now it's bad.
Right.
Not when your husband has been saying we need to get out, we need to get out, we need to get out. But like now that you almost died and saw it firsthand because you wanted to be
Mhm.
stupid and teach your son a lesson, which I get, like don't steal, I get it, but
There's a time and place
there's
for
a time.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so
Little of a
I thought
riot
that was
of
so stupid.
looting is not the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I mean, you
yeah,
could
that
wait a couple of days and go back and like ah,
right. Everybody's, like, looting and stuff. She drags him inside and starts, like, leashing hell. Like, "Don't you ever do this. If you do this, Imma kill you, or Imma ground you," whatever. Then turns to the girl and say, "If you do this again, if you ever drag my son again, Imma kill you. Imma beat you till you're black and blue or something." Like, and
yeah.
she's like, put it back." And he's like, trying to find the spot where he grabbed it from, and that's when that
Mm,
boss, leader guy, whatever, caught her saying, "Put it back." He's like, "No, that's going against what we want."
yeah.
And that's when he
Yeah.
just basically takes her hostage. Her
Yeah,
and the
which
2
is
kids.
super which is like that. I mean, that wasn't really on like not the acting part of it or the story. That's just like
Mhm.
it's like oh, you're the good guy because you're a Protestant, but yet you're willing to kill somebody because yeah, God, it's so
Yeah.
fucking annoying.
And then
But yeah,
yeah. I was gonna discuss about the scene right after that, but I don't know. It seemed like a Western showdown when they had the
yeah, like
cops
a
or army or
standoff.
s yeah, like,
Yeah,
surround the street. There was nobody but them 3 or 4. I'm like, "What's gonna happen now?"
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Just I don't know how that the dad had a really great, accurate arm, like a baseball pitcher or something, because that dude hit it straight, like, on his hand. Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Also, I think the mom pushed him because when she pushed Billy who was gonna shoot, I
Mhm.
think she like came and pushed him from the side. But and even then they don't leave right away. I would be like, I'm like, we're packing our shit right now and leaving tomorrow. But I get like, the grandfather died, so they had to deal with that and stuff like that. But I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It had its issues. It was just kind of a very upsetting movie, I think.
Yeah,
It didn't really have a happy ending, um, which I get because it's kind of it is based on actual events
right.
and stuff like that. But and I'm not expecting a happy ending. I don't think movies should have an happy ending.
Yeah, not all
Um,
movies, yeah.
but even that last scene with the zoom in on Judi Dench and she's like, "Go, son, and don't look back." I
Yeah,
thought
don't
that
look
was
back.
weird. I thought that was a
Yeah,
little weird because it was like zoomed dead on her face,
yeah,
And I thought that's where the movie was going to end, and it went on for another like 15 seconds, I think. You
yeah.
know, 'cause-
I
yeah,
I
but
I I took it as, the family was torn, and part of the being them torn was because they wanted to stay. The little boy wanted to stay because of their grandmother and grandfather, um, and I think the mom so I think that was the mom's parents, I'm not 100% sure.
yeah,
But, other than that, I kinda understood, like, go and don't look back. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing here for you, create your better life, you know? And
yeah,
she was left by herself, and
yeah,
I think that basically saying, "I'll be okay." Which when she closed the door and you could see the silhouette of her shadow and she put her head down, I'm like, "Does she die right after this because she's heartbroken from her husband?" Or
yeah,
she knows she's never gonna probably never see them again because that's the last time. I mean, honestly, she was really up in age and they're
yeah.
gonna go somewhere far. So it was like a harsh reality for her. Like, Imma die alone, basically, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a downer movie. But here, let's give our ratings for it. So we'll do our official Spoiler Kings rating. So we have now, watch it now. Later means whenever you have some time, or never. Don't ever watch it. Just don't waste your time.
Right.
What would you give this one?
Uh, honestly, it's gonna be between later and never. If you're a historian person, like classic films, has some artistic to it because everything was black and white, but when they showed the theater, the
Yeah,
stage, it was all colored. It looked modernized, but everything else was black and white in the 1960s format.
Yeah. Even the reflection off her glasses
Off even
was
that,
the
yes.
in color. Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
So if you're an artistic person, watch it later. Other than that, like myself, I would have never watched this movie, and doing we've done this 2 years now, 3 years.
But, yeah.
I would have never watched it. So me myself, I'd have put never. So I think I'm gonna go with never.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm about there with you. The only people that I could see really maybe enjoying it for like historical value would be like if you are Irish or have Irish like descendants or some stuff
Right.
like that, and it's kind of like looking at your own past because representation matters,
Mhm.
so yeah, being Irish and looking back at it, you're like, oh wow, that's crazy. But like, for me, it's just, I don't know. It didn't add anything new. It's like info that I already kind of knew just from history itself. So, you know, I, I felt like this was trying really hard to be a Jojo Rabbit kind of movie. And if you
Okay.
ever seen Jojo Rabbit with the whole Nazi Germany kind of thing,
No.
through a boy's point of view, it's an amazing movie, really amazing movie. I think it was trying to be like that, and it just didn't hit right. Um, and I'm right there between like later and never. Probably you could probably skip this movie. It'd probably be a never for me.
Okay.
You can probably skip it. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could watch like a YouTube documentary about this era and get more information.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. But since this is our first movie, we have nothing else to compare to yet, so we can't really rank it. But going forward, once we start watching different movies, we'll start ranking where we place all the different Oscar nominee movies at. But anything else before we close this one out?
No, just close it. Let's go.
Yeah,
It's one of those, honestly. It's like
that's one of those.
yeah, it's
I
kinda
agree.
hard to understand, so
Yeah, yeah. They have a really thick
so
Irish accent in a lot of
yes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you for guys for watching. We're also going to do another contest. It should be coming out pretty soon, so make sure you are on our Spoiler Kings Facebook group, and I'll put it in the link in the descriptions for all the Oscar movies, where you pick the winners, and whoever picks the most winners for all the Oscar nominees, we'll do a gift, probably like just a gift card or something along those lines.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
so make sure you're on the lookout for that, and join our little Oscar contest that we're going to do pretty soon. But yeah, man, that is it for our first 2022 Oscar movie, Belfast, and we're both not fans of it.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
Belfast
but
be gone.
yeah. So that is it from us over here. I am Tank Kramer and with Fredo, and thank you guys for watching. And make sure you check out our other Oscar movies that should be coming out pretty soon. And
Yep.
thank you. See
See
you
you
guys later.
later, guys.